Trigger warning on many of these, but to note, this one describes violence in some detail. For about 20 years, beginning in the 1970s, a group of white cops rode around Chicago, terrorizing and torturing Black Chicagoans. They electrically shocked them, made them think they were about to die, harmed their genitals, all while verbally accosting them with racial slurs. This group did this to over 100 mostly Black men in the city. Not only that, but they used these tortures to conjure false confessions, which resulted in years-long prison sentences for innocent people. 10 people were put on death row under these circumstances. A survivor served over 3 decades in prison for confessions made while enduring torture for a crime he did not commit. These cops not only had the support of their superiors, but as investigations would go on to show, the support of people as powerful as the mayor. The systematic nature of these horrors was uncovered through the work of activist lawyers, organizers, journalists, and the people who experienced it firsthand. The People's Law Office, a historic law office in Chicago whose movement history goes as far back as working to get justice for the killing of Fred Hampton, led the legal effort. This work began in the 1980s, but for the first decade, it reaped very little reward, as all white juries reached the conclusion that the police officers were not liable for the torture of these individuals. It wasn't until the 2000s when this advocacy work seemed to pick up steam. By bringing in international experts on human rights abuses and torture from the United Nations, advocates were able to frame the anti-Black brutality of the police department in terms that gained legal and media traction. Organizers, including those directly brutalized, have spent decades to bring a semblance of justice to their cause and that of other survivors of police violence. And in so doing, they have made history. In 2015, the survivors of the Chicago Police Department's brutal torture campaign won reparations for themselves and the community. In addition to funds for each living survivor beginning in the 2017 school year, 8th and 10th grade Chicagoans were to learn about this history and the fight that won some semblance of justice. The reparations package has allowed for the city to create the very first official trauma center for the survivors of police violence in the U.S., wherein therapy and other supports for any survivors of police brutality can go. What happened in Chicago for the survivors of this violence can and should happen as a bare minimum for the survivors of the many systemic violences in the country. And it's inspiring to see what this organizing has lent itself to.